Hey, what's up, everybody? It's me, Danae, and I'm here with a message for you. Happy Thursday. Had to look at my phone real quick. I know it's October 17th because it's the day of the full moon, but I did have a little brain freeze for a second on the actual day. Because ever since I was here Saturday and Sunday and just kind of went straight through the week, I feel a little bit off on what day of the week it is. But in any event, I hope you're doing well. I hope this lunation is treating you well and that you are governing yourself accordingly. If you want to tap into some full moon vibes, I offer that you check out my message from yesterday, which is time-stamped, the message first and the reading second, as well as the message on Tuesday, which I noted in yesterday's message was already in alignment with the vibes for the full moon without me even trying. You know, when I circled back around to do the message, I was reading about it and, you know, considering the aspects, I'm like, oh, well, I done already talked about this in yesterday's message, which would have been Tuesday. So check it out if you so desire. And I'm not sure what's going to come up today, but today is the actual full moon in Aries, of course. So we'll just leave the space open for spirit to speak however it will. All right, so let's see what we got. The Seven of Wands, standing your ground, protecting your energy, establishing strong boundaries first and enforcing strong boundaries second, or at least healthy boundaries. But in this case, it feels kind of strong. Then we got the Four of Cups, which feels like some type of missed opportunity. Ooh. Ugh. Or regret. Wow. And then we got the King of Cups here. We're sliding out. The Knight of Cups. That's interesting. And then the King of Wands. The Knight of Cups and then the King of Wands. So some type of offer was, or deal. Ooh, man. Some type of deal was made that has not yielded much good, to say the least. King of Wands. I'm just curious now. And then the Knight of Cups. And the Page. Yeah, somebody made a deal or pledged themselves to an allegiance that ended up being a disappointment, is putting it mildly, because this is the Three of Swords. Is damn near a heartbreak or a heart attack. I just heard somebody's heart space is under attack because the King of Cups forged a deal with a demonic force that was very imbalanced, to say the least. But it's almost like they kind of sold their soul, or they sacrificed a very sacred aspect of themselves for, I mean, what do people generally make deals with the devil for, but something that they feel that they couldn't do or have otherwise. Control, power, money, influence, success, fame, fortune, you name it, pretty much. But this feels more intimate, though. With the King of Cups, it's like the King of Cups is really a loving, at least they feel deeply. So maybe the love is, which is maybe that's why the Knight of Cups is what I uncovered in the deck, because it's someone that may be sitting in the maturity of their years as a king, but emotionally, maybe even psychologically, is underdeveloped, maybe even immature or distorted in some way. Damn, I just heard retarded. Emotionally retarded? Come on, it's getting harsh in here. It's them Aries vibes. Good Lord. Damn. Or spiritually retarded. Ooh, that's even more of an insult. Because emotionally, yeah. I don't know. I don't know what's more insulting, but to me, I guess spiritual retardation is a low blow. Because it's like, what do you do to redeem that? You know what I mean? I guess you could do a lot. I guess you could do a lot in either case. First of all, drawing and establishing healthy boundaries and self-control, which the devil implies that there could be some lack of self-control or even self-awareness here, especially with the Four of Cups. There could be a dismissal of, hence why the spiritual retardation here, or emotional retardation, because someone is refusing to evolve in that area of their life. It's not like they don't have the experience or the aptitude, or not aptitude, I would say the capacity and facility or faculty to do so, but maybe their deviances with the devil here, perhaps obsession, possession perhaps, is what is the prominent influence over their spiritual evolution. Yeah. So again, it is insulting what I'm saying, but it's like, it's not the type of retardation where someone just has a condition and they can't help themselves. To me, this feels like, by the matter of someone's own choices, a series of decisions and bad commitments and contracts and bindings, even within themselves. Like maybe someone just becoming way too friendly and comfortable with their own personal demons and never really growing away from them, you know, kind of making them more at home than would be considered healthy to do. And that's why someone it's like someone has grown in age, but in emotions and spirit, they're still like a teenager, or maybe even, what was it? was a was it the Page of Pentacles? It was one of the pages that showed up. If it was the Page of Pentacles, then that speaks to how that energy has materialized into some expression of lack, perhaps, or at least I would say scarcity in that case, because the king, I mean, he should be doing king things, you know what I mean? Not page or even knight things at this point. So I don't know. So anyway, King of Cups, bad deal. This is either regret or maybe even breach, refusal, rejection. I don't know. Something's happened here at the Four of Cups. But this is really rejecting the divine. So maybe someone had a chance to make amends again with their soul. Oh my gosh. So somebody, damn, are you kidding me? So somebody, even after having made a bad deal with the dark, with their own darkness, was then still offered an opportunity to redeem their soul. And they rejected that offer. And now this is why someone's in the Seven of Wands, where they're feeling threatened. Not just, they don't feel protected. They're having to protect themselves, and that's about all they have to depend on at this point, until, of course, they may go back and retrieve that offer. However, it may still be available. However, it could, be resolved at this point. But there's something that was mismanaged here in this agreement that wasn't made good on, which ultimately is always the case. You can never really fulfill the terms of darkness, because even if we're talking about someone's own personal demons, obsessions, possessions, addictions, so on and so forth, that's a thirst and a hunger that can never be satisfied. So just primitively speaking, if you have a substance addiction, you will never be able to satisfy that desire one day, one moment to the next, as long as you're still beholden to it. So it may not be the devil as it is sensationalized, but it could be someone's obsessions, again, that they became too comfortable with and allowed those entities to become too comfortable with them. And for however long you are feeding and nurturing those entities is how long they will more or less like allow you to function, let's say, to be a functional dependent, let's say. But the moment that you can't fulfill that need, that desire, that yearning, that fix, whatever it is the moment that all hell breaks loose. And then that's when we get to the point of ultimately doing whatever you can to satisfy that urge, or of course to purge it altogether, which would be more of like a detox or cleansing or exorcism or purification of your auric field, which would then of course be a establishment or hopefully a recommitment to the essence of you that is pure, that is organic again, whether you see that as a divine extension or just you coming back to your own natural being, your natural essence without the dependency, whatever that is. Because this, I mean, it's cups on here that are screaming the loudest to me. So it certainly doesn't have to, it could be like alcohol, primitively speaking, but it feels, with the devil in the mix, it feels like something a little bit more deep and sinister than that. Like an obsession that, you know, like I said, the King of Cups on sight, you would never expect to see in cahoots with the devil. Like not even sitting in the same space, you know? So for them to be side by side, this is something quite duplicitous that someone could be dealing in, where their persona speaks one way, loving, kind, gentle, non-threatening, but the soul of this man is corrupted, and it is absolutely nothing like what they project. And especially given that there's been a rejection of the divine's offering and sustenance and nourishment, redemption. You know, like once you smacking the divine's hand away, it's kind of like, well, you on your own. What more can? And if you're on your own in your own flesh, own power of your flesh. Not to mention the fact that if you still owe these dark energies anything, they ain't never gonna let it go. There is no grace and forgiveness as far as that energy is concerned. So hence why I'm getting this energy of like a heart attack. It feels like somebody's just working themselves into exhaustion and maybe into like anxiety, or even maybe a psychosis or some sort, just trying to keep their head above water. They're trying to fight their demons. They're trying to keep themselves, you know, sound and intact, probably trying to figure out a way forward or out of this mess that they've created, maybe even trying to figure out how to reclaim what was rejected in terms of this divine order, or grappling with the regret of not listening to their intuition, which again is another inflection of spiritual retardation, where we have a built-in sound system, and when you're rejecting that channel and those signals, then you are certainly not functioning at full efficiency, you know. So there we are. And now this Six of Swords is, to me, is like this desire to want to cross over from all of this chaos. But can he? Oh, that was where the King of Wands is. Oh, but look, the Ten of Swords is right behind that. So this is what they want to do. But they're so stuck here dealing with what things have been created for them to grapple with on account of their decisions, their choices, and their actions. They would want to make a higher-minded choice now, or a more empowered decision, but it's given that there's some unfinished business that would need to be taken care of before they could move forward. Let's see what else we got. Yeah, justice, cause and effect. Pardon me. Yeah, somebody's dealing with the backlash of their actions. And it's like, it could be karmic retribution. It could just be the reaping and sowing effect. It could be the contractual, like some type of contractual enforcement that in this case is admissible, even, legally admissible, because this is what someone committed to or agreed to. So there's some entrapment here, again, that someone is having to deal with, that they couldn't. This justice card is saying that, it's fair. It's not anything unjust or unrighteous or well, the terms of which someone may agreed upon, there's probably a point of consideration there, but like, it's binding is what I'm trying to get to. Like, no matter what you discover of a diabolical agreement after the fact, once you make that commitment, even in the most primitive sense, we know it's like if you lived long enough to have seen what crack does to the best of people, like people that are just amazing, take one hit and that leads them on a trajectory. It could, not always, but most times it can lead you on a down spiral for a very long time before you ever see your way back up again. And it's like seeing the evidence of that at its worst, but then still deciding, well, I'm gonna take my chances. You know what I mean? Well, I feel like I'm strong enough. I have enough will. I have enough resistance and willpower in me that I could just take a hit every now and again, or a hit on the weekends, and I'm Gucci. Like, I'm not gonna be addicted. And then, you may have had that best intention ahead of you, but the moment that you introduce that agreement between you entered into that agreement with your physical being in that substance, now, you're kind of beholden to the terms of havoc that it wreaks on your body to continuously be fulfilled and fed, because you knew what it was and you know what it is. Once you take a hit, your body automatically wants more and more and more. So, it's like that's primitively speaking. So this is somebody that, can see the handwriting on the wall, may even kind of see the potential downfall of others or what's possible to be a pitfall for themselves, but they somehow feel exalted above the rule, like they feel somehow an exception to the rule, and that they're strong enough to withstand the temptation to be consumed, or even to be possessed. This could even be playing with dark energies secretly, on the sidelines in ways that nobody really knows. It's very covert, and you think that you have it under control because who you present yourself to be most of the time is palatable enough, and maybe even to some extent non-threatening enough that you can create a balance at your own admission. But before you know it, that darkness completely overrides the little bit of light that you were shining through, and then eventually everybody can see exactly who you are, or that urge and that surge of dark force just begins to take up way more space in your being. We're talking about soul power here, soul energy, which is very delicate. It's very powerful, but it's very, very delicate and sensitive. So once that it starts to become taken over, it wants more. It now takes command of the vessel, and whatever it desires as a contractual in that contractual commitment is what it requires, or else you breach that contract, and there will be repercussions. There will be penalties. And in some ways, the penalty, especially doing things in a spiritual sense, you know, you could try to separate your spirit from your physical, like, you know, like I said, doing certain things secretly that don't project in your public life or persona. And you would think that that's a separation, when really it's not, because your soul is the true essence of you, and then everything materializes from there. So hence why this Three of Swords is glaring at me as some type of heart attack or nervous breakdown or something like that is what I'm seeing, because someone can no longer sustain these dualities within their being, psychologically, physically, mentally, spiritually. It's like that. Maybe that's where I'm getting a retardation, because there's like a breakdown that's happening, because where someone may be trying to refuse their urges or refuse to fulfill this contract is where now they are subject to the breach terms, which makes them susceptible to attack. And since they refused their spiritual protection and insurance, it's like free range. Not only is someone unable to really keep themselves stabilized, but now anything can really run up on them. And literally, this is it right here. Like any attack that comes on account of this breached agreement now or unfulfilled contract is legal, is fair, is just, is balanced, and there's nothing that the divine could really do to step in to stop that, I would say, from my perspective, unless and until someone finds their way back to this agreement where they left off, if that's still available, if it's still an option, if they can muster the strength to get to it. That would be the only way to effectively fight the I won't even say fight, because like this is coming no matter what, Eight of Wands. It's like something somebody just has to kind of brace themselves for the impact of, because it's all fair. It's like, this is what it is. You made this deal, you know what I mean? So you have to either make good on it, or and how that materializes, like I'm saying, with substance abuse. So either you keep feeding that entity, whatever it is, or you take the hit of that purging and that detox. And we all know that that's never anything pretty. You know, like, even though you may have come to a point of decision to say, enough's enough, I'm not doing it anymore, you still got to get over that hump of the detox process, and regaining your strength and purifying your physical being and your auric field, and then even separating yourself from the temptations, the triggers, you know what I mean, and all of that good stuff. So it's like, it's still a stress on the mind, body, and spirit, but there's hope to come up out of it when you're committed to it for the purposes of pure, when the commitment to it is pure and it's pure and for the purposes of cleansing your consciousness, you know. And only the divine can really assess that sincerity and assist as it sees fit. At that point, like I say, you're still on your own, except for the grace and mercy of the divine as it chooses to step in and support at that point. But some stuff is it just comes with the territory. Wow, with the Lovers. So yeah, it would have to be so pure as literally someone reaching out for their highest self at this point, their most supreme nature. Not just not opportunistically, or like this is pure, like a pure decision to be well, is what I'm taking this to be. Not like, I'm not saying this in any insensitive way, because I've shared many times over that I used to smoke like a chimney weed, not crack, thank God, or anything else harsher than that, not even cigarettes, but that was enough, so I can understand when the habit got you by the balls, you know what I mean? And it veers from being every now and again to recreationally, to casually, to habitually, before you even realize it, So I'm not being insensitive to how much it may take for someone to gather the strength and the will to break themselves free of something that has a hold on them. But I'm saying that in terms of this type of contract, like, this is the opposite of the devil energy. It would have to be damn near spiritual intervention for someone to really, I would say, regain the attention of the divine to help support them on this journey, like on this path to healing. And that's a hard thing to do unless you really have come to the point of, learning your lesson and realizing like where you misstepped. So in other words, I'm saying this couldn't just be on account of making the pain go away. Like, okay, I just want to get clean. Like, Lord, help me, please type of energy. I'll be better, I promise. But really the soul of that man is not really intending to truly be better. They just want to get a little bit clean, maybe rectify some of the disfavor in their life. But at the soul of it, they can't wait to get back to what they, back to where the habit, I should say, whatever that is. Or if they're, have the propensity to exchange one for the other, whatever it is, I'm saying this because I sense this may not be universal or general for every case, but I sense that in this case, this is something very deep, and someone sold out a very precious part of themselves continuously when they had opportunities to change and heal. And they refused so many times and in so many ways that they have spiraled into a place where, with the best intentions, it would be hard to physically pull themselves out. So it's a no-brainer that spiritual intervention is necessary. And at this point, having smacked the divine's hand so many times, it's like it would be truly on a hope and a prayer to have any what's the right word, to have any supernatural, like, the word I'm looking for, shoot, it's the word I'm looking for, damn. Hold on, I gotta hear it. I hear it, but I can't get it out. 1 second, please, just bear with me. Relief. Oh, thank you. Relief is what someone really, really wants more than anything. But the healing is what is necessary. It needs to go deep at a soul level now. It can't just be a Band-Aid, can't just be a quick weekend recovery, a little chicken noodle soup, and a good night's rest. This is somebody that needs the works, and if they're not going to be in for the long haul, or just in complete commitment and submission to whatever that takes, just as quickly, you know, I just don't sense that this is something that could, if they gain the attention and the support for their sobriety, whatever that is, supernaturally or divinely, it still would require a deep commitment to stay in that sacred space where there's no harm, you know, there's not more of a harm or foul incurred. What I'm saying is, this is not somebody that can just play around with the back and forth. Like, it feels like somebody teetering on the edge of demise here, that if they were to receive the grace to be pulled out of such dire straits, they would have to stay within that grace, because a relapse in this case could be someone's demise and could be the end, is what I'm getting to. You know, like it don't, and that sounds harsh, but really, like, how I'm trying to convey it, but it's hard for me to say it, is that to have grace in the situation as it is already is merciful, from what I can sense. Like, I can't really put my words to it, but from what I can sense, for someone to have another chance to pull themselves together and with divine support is already exceedingly kind of the divine, you know? So it's like somebody might be all out of chances. 7 of Cups, you know? That's still a matter of intoxication. Damn, I don't know why this is so heavy. Oh, Lord. And here's the temptation. This was somebody is actually thinking about at the 3 of Cups. The good old days, the, you know, fun, fast times and frivolous nights and, you know, like just debauchery and partying and bullshit and all the things that kind of put them in the place that they are now in some way, shape, or form. Because like I said, this may not necessarily be that specifically, like alcohol, drugs, or, you know, anything like that, but it's something that someone still reveres to be, you know, still is reflecting upon as favorable, you know, reflecting upon fondly is what I should say. And that could be also the point of contention between someone really advancing their healing to the point of security and safety. You know, so again, like it's hard to kind of wipe the energy clean from what someone has just allowed to grow as a part of them for a very long time. But it seems to me, and with the Sun card, and that's what I'm saying, like it's a matter of putting yourself in a position to be separating yourself generally. It's a matter of separating yourself from these temptations for something more prosperous and productive. This is pure energy here with the Sun, like good old clean fun, as they say, you know. And you know, some people thrive, or at least they feel they do, more in debauchery than good clean fun. So I mean, the element doesn't change, you know, it's unconditional no matter what the choice is, but it's unwavering at the same time, is what I'm getting. That the Sun is always going to be the Sun, and it can be comforting, it can be warm, and it can also burn your ass. So, you know, like the choice is really up to whomever is in this position. So to kind of receive what's natural, what's purposeful, what's productive, what's prosperous, or to continue to satisfy themselves through these like synthetic fulfillments, you know, what's fleeting, what's gratifying in a moment or immediately, but what really doesn't have longevity or sustainability. And here is the Six of Cups, perfect example of the Six of Cups compared to the last reading I did where it came up and I was saying that it could either be good, something good reflected, or something that, you know, at this point is to be released. And at this energy, I feel like is somebody really, for once and for all, being confronted with the karmic cycles that they continuously commit themselves to and even create for themselves. You know, this is regressive. This is a reoccurring relational dynamic that someone keeps finding themselves in, whether it's being with the wrong crowd, hooking up with the wrong people, making the wrong agreements within himself or herself, however, but it's highly masculine, obviously, within themselves about what's good for them and what, you know, what desires they're going to satisfy and what aspects of their soul they're going to deprive, you know, on that, in that regard. This is that energy here with the Six of Cups where somebody has learned this lesson one too many times at this point. Like you've had way too many go-rounds with choosing poorly and finding yourself on the same path of self-destruction. And now it's like, okay, what say ye at this point in juncture? Will you continue to what's the word, to yearn for this synthetic satisfaction, or will you release that cycle and finally allow yourself to heal for the chance of something more productive, a partnership even within yourself that is more pure and productive, which then in comes the Lover's card. That would be the higher vibe of the Six of Cups. Even if it's something that is familiar, it's evolved, it's pure, it's organic, it's ordained, it's divine. It has a higher resonance than this thing here in the lower frequency where you ultimately end up having to protect yourself. You know, it's like choosing the wrong girl or the wrong guy all the time, because it's a good time and it's fun and you can be your dark self and you can do dark things, or just not really have to ascend too much when you're choosing in a certain frequency. You know, like, you know, when you're choosing people that like to do what you do or don't mind you doing what you do, or that you just don't have enough respect for to do anything more for, it makes for, you know, a more interesting life sometimes, at least for a while, until it doesn't and it's no longer satisfying, or it actually is destructive, and then you wish you would have made a different choice. Well, it's like I said, this is literally someone that may not honestly deserve to have another choice by any measure. I'm not saying that judgmentally because I have authority to say, but for all intents and purposes, with the Six of Cups showing up, like I said, this is somebody that keeps doing the same thing over and over again. And like I said, how many times are you gonna slap the divine's hand away before it's like, okay, you got it, you on your own? So yet and still, I'm still speaking of a possibility for yet another chance, for more grace and mercy on top of that. But the stakes are really so much higher for someone to actually receive that now. To really be so-called saved or redeemed is really going to call for someone to muster up all of the soul they have left in their body, to not just forge a new covenant and contract that's of, a divine nature, but also to stick to it. And there are hella distractions and temptations that would distract someone on that path, of which they don't have the luxury to be caught up with, They just literally, there's no more time for someone to just, oh, I'm just living life. I'm just doing me. It ain't none of that. Because it's like the next drink somebody takes, or the next poor hookup somebody makes, the next sinister act someone commits could literally be the end of them. That's what I'm sensing. Okay, Eight of Swords, this is spiritual imprisonment, if not actual imprisonment. This could either be mentally and spiritually in chains, or someone's habits and behaviors and actions leading them on that path. Hell, somebody could be could already be there. This still wouldn't mean that there hasn't been mercy and grace extended from the divine, because, there is rehabilitation behind bars, and it would still be a privilege for someone at this point. Just a matter of how you see it. But either way, it's like, whether you're in chains or you're free to move about the planet, somebody does not have the liberty, and maybe a lot of somebodies for sure, with this full moon, maybe there's some energy on this closure and finality of debauchery, especially of the spiritual nature, that is no longer tolerable by the divine, where there is no more chance for you to just play the field and, see how it goes, and, just playing games in spirit and in truth anymore. There's a lack of tolerance for that now, where it's almost like immediate backfire, immediate repercussions, immediate return on your energy. Whatever it is, there's an immediate backfire for it. It's no longer a delayed reaction anymore. What was that? Oh, that was the Empress. All right. Oh, and here's the Hierophant. I'm hearing this old song. I hear it from when we used to sing it in church, but I can't remember all the words. But it's like, get right with God. And get right with God and do it now. Get right with God and He will show you how. Na 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 na. Get right with God. Get right with God. Such an old song. I don't even know if it's a hymn. It probably is. But it's a song that we used to sing in church. And I heard that so clear with this Hierophant card. It's like, this is the final invitation, for some, not everybody, of course, I'm sure, I guess. But some have been privy to many, 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 many opportunities and chances to repent, to change their ways, to reform, their unrighteousness. And I'm not talking about religion, although the Hierophant definitely speaks to that. I'm talking about your what's the word? The wellness, this is not the word I'm looking for, but the wellness of your soul, the purification of your spirit, your integrity, your intentions. It's like, if you want to be sinister, then just live in that frequency openly, honestly, and honorably, truthfully, and make sure that it's not doing any harm to anyone else, because nobody has that liberty anymore. You can only be harmful to yourself if you choose to be, which is like, why would you even help the darkness out anymore in that regard? But if you so choose to be, you have that right. You have that liberty. But any way that causes an infraction on someone else intentionally, that is the part that is an immediate grounds for return, energetic return, and backfire. And the Hierophant is the judge that, for me, is affirming that truth. And the fact that it is the judge in a natural form is saying that, this is all admissible, not just in spiritual law, but in natural law. That it's just, it's the laws of physics at this point in time, where everything but it has a supernatural essence to it with the Eight of Wands, because it's like I'm saying, it's like, yes, there's always been cause and effect, reap what you sow, give and take, and so on and so forth. But now there's something accelerated about that dynamic where you thought you could play around and, play now, pay later. No, you're going to pay right away. So it's not even worth it. And like I said, the human vessel can't take but so much. So you had a delay. That was the grace, the delay on the repercussions before. Now you put yourself in the wrong position at the wrong time, doing the wrong things with the wrong people. You literally could get hit with something that takes you out immediately. And it's all fair, it's all ordained, it's all justified at this point. And it's also, with the Hierophant here, it speaks to there being no, what's that word? Like, God is no something of persons. Like, there's no discrimination, basically, is what I'm trying to say here. There's no discrimination. You could be the highest of the high in position and authority and power and influence, and it certainly doesn't matter what contracts you bound yourself to, because those are virtually null and void. The dark powers are only presenting themselves to still have authority to forge new contracts, but they really don't. That energy doesn't hold weight in this realm anymore. It's just still gleaning off of old contracts, which is fair, because you still owe on those contracts and those agreements. But in terms of what's new, there won't even be time for an exchange to make dark agreements where you give some essence of yourself, i.e. your soul, and you get something fortunate, at least, fraudulently fortunate in return. You won't even have time to see it. There will be no grace period for you to even truly obtain and receive what it is you think you are making an agreement for, because that's how fast, like, it's almost as soon as you make the decision to forge an agreement, you've already put yourself in harm's way. So whatever it is you thought you were getting in return or as a reward, you won't even make it to fully gain. So nothing is worth it. But this energy is not going to say that. This energy is not going to tell you that. Like, consider it like the fentanyl energy, where I've heard it's in weed. You know what I mean? Like, they've seen it coming up in weed and stuff. So it's like nothing is even safe or sacred anymore. So you make one choice to do something recreationally, and that literally could be a split second to your demise. You know, it's just like, it's like that now. That's just the material manifestation of what is possible in the spiritual sense. Again, anyone that still has the grace and mercy to do something different, to change and shift their trajectory, is quite blessed to be able to do so. Anybody that's been huffing and puffing on all types of chemicals and substances, that's been beating their body down, but yet and still they're alive to talk about it, you know, to see a new day, is quite blessed, especially given how people are dropping like flies from what used to be harmless recreational experiences, you know. So I'm just saying, like, and I'm probably preaching to the choir, but the point of it all is that if you were even tempted to do something that you've already made an agreement within yourself, is just no longer for you, you know, like no longer in, you know, a part of your force field, or no longer an activity of yours or desire or whatever you've established for yourself securely. I guess the moral of the story is to maintain those boundaries and to maintain those standards for your sake. Because, yeah, world card, exactly. Whatever has been left behind, justifiably released and moved on from, transcended from, ascended beyond, is rightfully where you left it. Now, I'm saying this to say, I don't know if I'll never smoke weed again. I know I don't really have a desire to, where I thought I'd never say that in my life, to be honest. And even in my sobriety at this point, which has been more extended now than ever before since I started smoking, at some points earlier and through it all, I was like, maybe I'll just smoke more naturally, or, you know, because my biggest thing with myself was that I hated that I smoked with like wraps, those, you know, cigar wraps that you know are no good for your body, for your lungs, for anything, you know, those chemicals that are in them is no good for you. So I used to say, well, maybe when I do smoke again, I'll just smoke naturally, or I'll smoke in the pipe, or you know, whatever, like something that's not tainted, you know, because weed in its pure essence is not that bad, but what it's become now is not pure at all, you know. So this is what I'm saying, like, that was my resolve. Now I smell it, I don't even really have a taste for it, where before it was at least a consideration or a recollection, you know. Now it doesn't even really appeal to me. And to some degree, I kind of hope that sustains itself, honestly, so it's not even an issue. But it's like me going back on what I've established for myself and going to the store and buying a Bluntville, or what else? I don't even know what I used to smoke anymore. Or, you know, what are those other wraps, like a backwood, which was not typical sometimes, but backwoods or Bluntville or whatever, and lighten up, and then bam, you know, of all times, of all people, I'm the one that got the batch with a little sprinkle of fentanyl, and now I'm out for the count, never to return again. or it has some type of adverse effect to my heart or something, or gives me anxiety to the point of putting me in, the incapacitated state or something like that. It's just like hindsight is too late at that point, when all I had to do was maintain my commitment, my contract, my devotion to my supreme self. Lover's card. I decided that it was in my greatest good to release that habit. So what would be a justified reason to pick it back up again? Not much at this point, unless I'm growing it my damn self, But the Nine of Wands, yes, like somebody, looking back in regret and remorse for the actions that they took. But what's done is done. Now if you're still standing, you're on your feet, this is again a cause for gratitude, how I see it, that if you're on the other side of this cycle changing and you still are alive, up and at them to tell the story, then that's all the grace and mercy you need. Now, what are you going to do to move forward in the trajectory of universal flow, which is moving onward and upward? What else can you release of your regrets and your remorse that could help you become a little bit more light for the journey ahead? This literally could be someone in recovery here with the Nine of Wands. But sometimes with the Nine of Wands, the attitude in that recovery can be debilitating. Like I said, it's somebody looking back with more regret than they do gratitude. And that kind of impairs how someone can truly evolve from their state of despair. It kind of makes you a bit stuck, So this could be someone going through the motions of recovery and sobriety, but energetically they're still harboring bad feelings toward, maybe even having to change, or the fact that they, feel like they had no choice, or the things that they wish they hadn't done or wish they could do differently. And that's, it's not productive. That's the whole point of it all. So it's like whatever it is that you can release of the past that you have observed and decided no longer serves you, it's best to really let it go. Allow this transit, particularly this lunation, to support you in that. And this is the wounded warrior. Speaking of Aries energy, this is like the wounded warrior. You're still a warrior, even though you might be a little bruised and battered. But what can you allow the universe to help you to release that will help you regain your strength? To put you back in fighting shape again. It's a high chance and probability that you can get there if you're still here at this point. It's just going to take all that strength and determination and resilience to keep going and see it through. Because it's a new world. It's a new world now. It may still look like the same old world, but it's not. And the things that you could get away with before, it's intolerable now for everyone, which is why I included myself as a personal example. So it's clear that I'm not preaching to anyone about what they, should or shouldn't do. Inclusively, I understand the assignment is to stay focused on moving forward and maintain the highest integrity possible. Always. All right, so I'll leave it at that. Thank you for listening and watching. Until next time, as always, I leave you with peace.